Hey, everybody, it's Carl from Immortals Inc. Podcast here, and I got John, and I got Mike, and we're going to talk about some Call of Cthulhu, and we're going to talk about some one-shots, and we're going to talk about how we broke our budget on glow sticks. Anyway, me and John have been talking about running this adventure for like 10 years called
Grace Under Pressure. Was Pagan Publishing and was written by John Tynes and Jeff Barber, a couple of Annie Award winners for Delta Green and Blue Planet. And it's really a fitting mashup for those two titles because it is a Call of Cthulhu adventure that is set aboard an experimental submarine in the near future year of
1996.
Yep, you got it.
So you can tell how old that is. So I had a hard time finding it to begin with. So John, you had a copy, so I was able to scam a copy off you. But I went to go buy the magazine it was in.
Oh, it's long gone.
But it was like, I think it was $80.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I was going to buy it, but I'm like,
it's been out of print for a
while.
while.
It probably wouldn't have been here in time. And then they had a compilation they also did, but that's $80.
Sure, not surprising.
And then I didn't know the website it was. I'm like, I don't know about you, guy, but I'll find it. So if anybody's got a copy of, I think it's Unspeakable Oath 4.
That's what it was originally in, and then they released it separately as an independent.
So if somebody's got I got Unspeakable Oath number 1 behind you, but I could use number 4 just to have it. But anyway, it's this cool adventure set in 1996 aboard a sub.
An Australian experimental sub. You're 1,500 meters from the surface.
Mm-hmm. And
things start getting weird when you're exploring the South Pacific. Why could that be in a Cthulhu adventure?
I don't know. Is it kind of like, does everybody know what happened to the Titanic guys? That's exactly what this is about. So, I mean, kind of like the same theory. You go down in a big sub and anyway. But, yeah, you go down and it took 2 game masters or keepers. Yeah, Cthulhu's keepers. It took 2 gamekeepers to tell the adventure because at one point the party's going to have to separate.
Yeah, so you've got the sub has a malfunction at the same time that the scientists find out some really unusual stuff going on. So they decide to take their mini sub off to go check that out. And Mikey got to be one of those players who went to go check out that mini sub.
That's not your first role-playing game?
That was my first role-playing game. You guys know I've been on the channel. I haven't been. The whole premise of this channel was I'm an idiot, and I need to figure out how to implement myself in this world. So I did it. We did it. So with the help of you guys. But yeah, I was sent off on the mini sub with a pretty incompetent partner that I had. Not gonna name drop. Just I was heavily concussed the whole time off my own initial mistake. So it was very interesting.
And it was fun, but it took us a while. I was able to. They had a little bit of the maps were old. You know, they were old, like the hand drawn almost, and you had to photocopy them, and you know they look terrible. But who cares? It's a game.
I mean, it gives a good impression on like what we're doing. If I didn't have the map, a lot of decision-making processes would be different, I think, you know, like.
Oh, no question, right? Yeah, I mean, it gives you a lot more perspective of what's going on.
Even if you don't understand in the moment, like when I first looked at the map, I'm like, what am I looking at? And then I'm like, you explained it perfectly, like top floor, bottom floor, this connects here. We're good.
Yeah, of the sub.
Yeah.
And it was fun because it was random characters that we pre-generated that go with it, and it was all sub-related items. You know, they weren't like warriors. You know, it's Call of Cthulhu.
No, they weren't your typical Call of Cthulhu adventures. This was a science team, right?
Yeah.
That was out testing out this experimental submarine.
Yeah.
So these were, divers and a geologist and oceanographers.
I mean, the closest you could probably get is like maybe a military guy as a diver, but even that wasn't the case in this.
You're right.
It was just a plain old diver guy, a geologist.
And all the characters had established relationships, like some of them had worked together before, and a little bit of personality traits so that the players had a few hooks to latch onto as they were portraying these characters.
But it's very mundane at first, and then did you like the recordings? Did you play both the recordings for him?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I recognized
the voice.
Was that Will on one of them?
Yeah, it's Will.
That was great.
I gave Will a couple bucks to do some voice acting.
There's a couple packs of magic.
So
just read this.
But that was fun. So it's just little stuff like that, and then like once John explained the adventures or the setup and the characters, we doused the lights. We had sonar ping underwater submarine sounds going, and then gave them all glow sticks, not the cheap Five Below glow sticks, the good I'm in trouble
Those
glow
are
sticks.
good because
They
they're
were-
still on right now.
Yeah, I
in
just
my room.
tossed them,
I put them
but
in the corner of my room, and they're still on this morning. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
they were bright enough that you could read your dice and your character sheet
Yeah,
by them, and
yeah.
I was holding it up, reading the adventure by it.
And
So.
we doused the lights and all the lights in the store, and it was fun. And then the store is big enough that like when you guys separated, we have walkie-talkies. We have store walkie-talkies. I know we're crazy, and they were able to separate enough that even if they're loud, they couldn't hear each other.
Nope.
So just on the mics.
because we had 2 mini subs on
Yeah.
on the actual submersible. So
Plus the deep sea divers.
Right,
Yeah,
so
so,
when they
you
would
could
go
split up
out,
pretty effectively.
yeah, they were gone. So that was cool. That was really cool.
Once the adventure started going, it was so mundane and just everyday item until
Until it wasn't
in the
at all.
It just went from okay to what's that weird thing, and then right out
Horrible.
the start.
Just
Yeah,
right there, horrible.
yeah.
And
'cause-
as it always is in Cthulhu, it's not a matter of win or lose. It's how you go insane.
yeah, it's how you do.
Is that just how kind of Cthulhu works? Like you're like, okay, I wonder how long this game session is going to go in real time, and then you're like, who cares? And then you're like, okay, it's got to go longer than this, and then everything just goes to shit.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of depends. With a one shot, characters are going to die, characters are going to go insane. If you're running an extended campaign, those events happen less often,
Okay.
right?
Or there's more ways where you draw out the insanity or the
Or bring in replacement
yeah.
characters.
Like don't ever get too attached to your character because he's not going in because it's like you almost have to have a certain type of player too. Like when I was picking the players, you have to have a certain because we had three brand new players.
At least.
Yeah, that never played a game before like that, or haven't for years. And then like 2 didn't play Call of Cthulhu, right? No, 1. I think
Diane was the only one who had played Call of Cthulhu before.
who had.
I think so.
Yeah. And so we're there, and it was just you can't have guys who like fantasy build, like especially Dungeons and Dragons. You're attached to your character.
Oh, absolutely.
That's your baby, not in Call of Cthulhu. It's not quite Dungeon Crawl Classics, DCC, Meat Grinder,
Yeah.
but it's like Meat Grinder light. It's like, and it's not even like you go crazy. It's not like you die, you just go crazy. And like with campaigns, you can like go months. Like, oh, we got to go put Ed in the hospital for a couple months because he's got to get well, and then you come back out and maybe he has a little tidbit of information that you waited those 5 months for him to not be crazy for,
Or he might have a couple of new ticks.
Yeah. but yeah, and then anyway, they because it went way south, and then the team leader was Travis from Grumpy Wizard.
Yep, Grumpy Wizard blog. Travis
yeah, he's
Miller.
been on here. Travis was the team leader, and he was good.
He was a douchebag. Team leader. Worst team. We call that a leader. I remember at one point he was doing a leadership role, and you were like, at that point, is there even a leadership? Like, why are you doing a leadership role?
Well, he was trying to inspire people, right? So that they would be able to function through their temporary insanity.
Right off the bat.
And it could have gone better.
Yeah, it was right off the bat. It was terrible because you're the pilot of the sub.
I had a horrible set of dice.
I
used
you
John's
crashed the
dice.
sub. You're not in the right site. You don't even know if you're at the right site. The only people that did anything without any problems was my one friend, her friend, Diana and my other friend. They both went out in a mini sub, and the ones I thought was going to go horrible was the demolition with the
Right,
explosion.
yeah.
When they had to set off these seismic charges. Yeah, no problems. They were perfect. And then everything after that.
There were a fair number of failed dice rolls.
Oh
There
yeah,
was.
a lot.
Right off the bat.
Because it was, and what made it fun was like Mikey and my one friend and her husband played, and she went back there with you on the mini sub to check out this
Yep,
anomaly.
we went out to check out the seismic activity.
So we were totally separated. So they had something horrible happen. And I have to say that's the funniest reaction I've ever seen in a Call of Cthulhu game was when she was like, you were seeing all these horrible, weird things in the bottom of the ocean, and you're like, we have to report this because they have to know that something bad's happening. And she's like, wait, if we don't tell them, can we make money off of this? It was like this bizarre reaction.
I'm like, money.
I mean, it's pragmatic. You got to pay for the science somehow.
And
Like,
I'm like,
money.
I didn't know where to go with that. I'm like, I don't.
We're not gonna have a story to tell. Get out of here.
But you have to admit, when you came back, did you figure it was going to be all right and you guys were going to do something? But when you came back,
Oh yeah, it was over.
And you came back. You came back into like utter chaos.
Yeah, we were still in the mini sub on the way back, and then we just had to stay in the mini sub because the actual main vessel was just
Full
bonkers.
of monsters.
It was horrible. Like just absolute. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, money. You're thinking about money right now. We have this big octopus creature chanting whatever on our. Like, come on, it's crazy.
And it was fun, but I have to give it to Travis though. He was funny as hell when he's the team leader, and one guy's down, the other guy's, hey, help me, get me in there, and he's like, and he just closes it, takes off.
That's why the hatches seal.
Oh man, it was funny, and then
Donnie's the perfect name for Travis. Alter ego team leader Travis.
And then Diana just got transfixed and wandered out into the, and then you, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to save my grandmother or fellow crewmate, and I get pushed out of the way while I'm already concussed, and my other crewmate just took over, and I got blamed for it.
Yeah,
so.
she tried one time and forgot about it. Left her husband on the thing.
Gone.
I think he may have already been dead.
Oh, she didn't know, but she didn't know that though.
She didn't even reach out on the radio comms. I'm sitting there going, "Hello, everybody." It's like, wow. But do you remember your first Call of Cthulhu campaign or one shot?
I don't remember if I played a campaign or a one shot first. There are many games that I played at cons as one shots where invariably it was, a race to the bottom. And by the bottom, I mean, who could run out of sanity first, right? In terms of actual campaigns, yeah, I was playing probably in high school with a buddy of mine where we were classic 1920s Arkham stuff.
Okay. Carlos, you remember yours? Your first one?
First one shot. The campaigns are always like maybe one or two games, and that was you ended up. But the one shot I do remember that's what kind of turned me onto it, because I was like, "What is this game?" Because I never really read it, and I liked the horror aspect of it, and it was like you just normal people, and I was like the most like. I think I played a guy like a World War I at the time, veteran.
Sure, yeah.
Who was like a heroin addict, young guy, and the only reason I survived is because this criminal and me got out, and it involved an elephant gun because I was the only one who could use it effectively. And we left all these women and children, and it was like, oh, we gotta get out of here. And boom, they were just leaving. And I'm like, and then you went insane because my character went insane because we left all these people behind, and the criminal's like, just go. And he was playing pretty good guy. He played it pretty well,
Yeah.
and it was fun. I'm like, okay, that was a lot of fun because you didn't expect. You were just a normal person and didn't expect any of it. And you
absolutely.
had to like improvise. It was more of a storytelling. The dice were never important. Like even how many times did you roll the dice? Like limited, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
It wasn't all the time.
No,
Rolling for everything.
the dice are going to be a story driver, right?
Yes.
It's
Did you even know any of the rules?
No.
No. See, yeah,
No.
it's just,
And
I
you don't
walked
need
in there
to.
not knowing anything besides looking at my dossier. That's it.
yeah, and it's not important. In campaign, it becomes a little more important, but not for the player. It's for
Not
the GM.
generally, no.
Yeah, and it's just
Well, you also need a good game master. Like you guys did a great job on all that. Like it
he's
just
a
made it so easy.
better storyteller than I am. I can't.
I mean, you guys just made it easy. Though.
I need to say. But
So yeah.
But yeah, it's more fun. That's what I mean. Like, that's almost like what I mean because like you kind of got away from it with. There's always the role playing, which is two types of role playing. The role of like you're playing a story driven role. You're playing the role of that character, or the role play where you have a bunch of dice and you throw them down. And there's two types, and it's
of course, yeah.
You have the DCC, which is the role player, I think. And then,
Often.
Yeah, and then Dungeon Dragons depends on which way you go with Dungeon
It's
Dragons.
going to depend on your group as much as anything.
Yeah, it could be role, but then a lot of Norse stories but Call of Cthulhu has always been the classic storytelling driven.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fun to read the rules. Rules are fun because the book is. There's a lot of rules for it, but
Mm-hmm.
but what I like is Call of Cthulhu. You can do a lot of one shots, and then you could do solos. They have a whole section of solo.
Yeah, those
adventures.
Alone in the Dark
Yeah,
adventures.
Alone- anything
are
with Alone
really
in
well
the
put
Dark.
together.
Yeah,
That Alone
yeah.
in the Static one that we talked about
We talked about that
not that
one.
long ago
I just got a
for
whole.
Valentine's Day, I think.
Oh wow, perfect for loneliness.
Yeah, but there's also I just picked up not picked up, but man, there's this old one shot or a solo adventure. It's got a pumpkin on it. It's like rare. I'll bring it in. We'll do a podcast about it.
Okay.
Because I'm always finding weird crap that nobody
Pumpkin
has.
for Halloween.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Well, it'll probably be November.
It's gonna be way too late. Probably.
Actually, I'm probably gonna go home now and because I got nothing
Pumpkin
to do.
will be spoiled by then.
I know, whatever. It's all fun.
It'll be turned into pie.
But if you ever get a chance to, I guess the point of the podcast, if you ever get a chance to play a one-shot Call of Cthulhu, you should.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Do not go into it thinking you're going to be the hero and you're going to.
There are no heroes.
No, there's no like great,
I survived.
You did.
So, and my crewmate who was
but
diabolical. I'm not.
Well, you think about it, you're stuck for 3 weeks.
3 weeks with her.
Yeah, in the
Alone.
decompression chamber.
I might not survive that.
No, she might be thinking, I can make a lot of money off this.
I can make money off this guy. We can
If
make
I'm
off
the only
on
one who
it.
can tell the story.
Dead men tell no tales. Mwahaha.
He suffocated.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how he got outside.
Autopsy shows a traumatic brain injury, though. That's interesting. Yeah, but yeah, like I mean, going into it for somebody who never played any of this, I mean, you really don't have to stress it. You just go in there and you go in with open ears, and from there, if you have a great DM, everything else runs easier. So it was a good time.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I think we should do another one.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we can do a campaign of some sort.
Well, maybe we can string together a few one-shots.
Yeah.
Let's
Get
think
me
about
warmed
that.
up.
I'm thinking. I'd
Figure
be-
out what my dice pair is.
I'd be willing to do
There you
it.
go.
My
Like,
roll.
I'd be willing to do a campaign on Cthulhu. I haven't done that in a while. I got to take a break from fantasy. It's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Fantasy getting a little nutty. But
I'll have to tell you at some point why I stopped doing a lot of fantasy. That's a story for another day.
Is that a podcast for
It
another day?
might be.
but yeah, it's fun. All right, guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, John, for coming in and talking and DMing. It was a great time for my first time. Wouldn't have had it any other way. And if you guys want to subscribe, you can. Like if you can. And you could also join us. So with that being said, have a good one, guys. See you guys next time.
Good gaming, folks.